Hello, my name is Jesse, and today I'm going to talk about my creative process as a game designer. So, I think what we're going to do today is we're going to look at some of the games I made in the past and how my identity as an artist shows through all of these games. So, here's one of the first games I ever made. It's called Moving Backwards. And I think there's two really important parts to my identity as an artist. I think first, I want all my games to look very unique. I want them to do something different than other games visually. So I have like a pretty distinct visual style with every game I make. And then another thing really important to me is that I do something interesting mechanically. And mechanically, I mean the way you play the game. I want to be different than the way you play other games. Because a lot of the games nowadays feel very similar or do similar things. So here's one of the first games I ever made. It's called Moving Backwards. And in this game, you can see first off, like I have this very distinct visual style. It's black with like white illustration. So it's very interesting to look at, I think, especially like the blood of the enemies is blue. You get this big flash of blue every time you kill an enemy. So you can see my distinct visual style coming through with this piece. And something really interesting about this game is that, you play as this little bunny character and you have this gun. And use the gun as both a weapon and also a way to move around. So the game is called Moving Backwards, and to move around you need to shoot your gun, and the recoil of the gun will send you flying. So that's why it's called Moving Backwards, because you shoot in the opposite direction that you're going to move. And then here's a game I made a bit later on. This game is called Rainy Day. And again, you can see my distinct visual style coming through. With this game, I went for the approach of like a children's book. I wanted to give like that comfortable, adventurous vibe, sort of. Something cozy. And in this game, you play as this little kid jumping around this rainy day. And the main mechanic in this game is this lightning bolt mechanic. So if you squish enough of these little blue water droplet enemies, then you can get some raindrops. And then you can use those raindrops. You collect them with your cloud. And then, as you can see here, you collect them with your cloud. And then you can get a nice thunderbolt going on. And you use the thunderbolt to boost yourself up. So again, you can see, like, compared to my last game, I play around with, like, interesting movement mechanics a lot. Interesting combat, stuff like that. And especially interesting visuals. And here's another game I made. This game is called Corvus. Now this game, I was very inspired by this artist. Vaxo Lang. And you can see his work has like a very distinct visual style. Very bloody, very over the top, very dramatic. And I really try to capture that in my game, especially if you look at these drawings. You see these like distorted white faces, kind of like screaming for help. That was a big inspiration for the look of this game. I wanted to give something like very horrific, bloody, very intense, hard to look at kind of. And in this game, it's very unique because you play as a bird, and you're ripping off the limbs of these zombies. You throw the limbs at the other zombies to kill them. I'm very proud of this game. I think it came out really nice. And something also very unique is, as you can see right here, the level is infinitely looping, so you can fly as far as you want in any direction. And you'll always have somewhere to fly. The world will never end. Which is pretty cool. And here is one of my more recent games. This game is called Milky Max Cattle Dismantling. Now something really interesting about this game's visual style is that I use both 2D and 3D visuals. So if I pause it here, you can see that the cow mutant person, as well as the player character, these are both pixel art, something that you'd see in like an 80s game, or like a modern indie game. But I also combine 3D assets, as you can see here, like these buildings and the road are both 3D modeled, as well as the hearts here. That's very unique. There's not a lot of games that do that. And also in this game I have videos, these videos that pop up if you get enough points. And in these videos, just some random stuff of my life, where you can see these eggs smashing these cows from the game. I just wanted to give like a trippy, weird vibe where it takes the player out of the game for a second. Now here is the most recent game I've been working on. This game doesn't have a name yet, but I've been working on this project for some time now. You control this spaceship and you fly through, it's like an abandoned New York City. So I'm very much inspired. So I lived here my whole life. You know, there's a very distinct architecture, especially the neighborhood I'm from in the Upper West Side. All the buildings are like pre-war, or a lot of them at least. So it gives them a very distinct visual style, and I really wanted to capture that environment in this game. And something I did really interesting is that all the visuals here are hand drawn. So I draw them by pen and then I color them with watercolors. And then, yeah, not a lot of games do that. So it has a very distinct style compared to a lot of games. I think it really shows a lot of my personality through the artwork. Yeah, and I'm really happy with how it looks, and I think it gives it a really distinct visual feel. Yeah. And now I'll actually show you um, what it looks like inside of this game engine. So a game engine, it compiles all the assets. So here I'll show you, like here's all the sprites. You can see all the artwork, all little artwork here. And same here, you can see all the artwork. And for the buildings, stuff like that. So it's a lot of combining like artwork, and then you can also combine code. So here I can show you the script. So each of these is a script, which is just like code that you use to build onto the game and help control it. This is the code used to control him. So you can see, you know, he's running around, he's selecting a different weapon. Then he can also like jump around, he runs, he walks. Yeah. And here's the actual code for him. Here, so you can see there's a thing in coding called a state machine. So it switches between different states for an object. So for the player, we have an idle state, when he's just standing and doing nothing. We have a walking state. We have a running state. We have a jumping state. So these are the different states the player can be in. And like, let's say I'm in the idle state, then I'm just gonna run this block of code here. If I'm in the walking state, I'm gonna run this block of code here. It's organized by like case, state.walking, and then break ends that case. So an example is like, in the idle state, idle means just like standing around doing nothing. You can see I check for the input of the left joystick horizontal. And it's checking if it's greater than 0.2, then we go into the walking state. So what that is saying is just like, if we push the left joystick more than 0.2, so like if we just give it like a little nudge, then we'll start walking. And here, if input.get button X, then we call the jump function. And then a function is just like a block of code, you can see here. So here's the jump function. It's saying if grounded, meaning if you're on the ground, then we start jumping, we're not walking, we're not running. We go to the jumping state. Oh, these are animations, my bad. So we start the jumping animation, we stop the walking animation, we stop the running animation. We go to the jumping state, and there's just some other stuff here. Yeah. But yeah, just giving you a little insight into what it's like to develop a game. It's a lot of code. Here's all the different objects I have in the game. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting and insightful. Yeah, thank you.